Setting up a connection to InfluxDB in Marple is really easy. I'll guide you through the steps today. So, when you arrive at Marple, you first need to go to the Data Library tab. This is the third one. In the Data Library, there's a new button, which is called Add InfluxDB Connection. When you click it, Marple adds for 4 things. 3 of them are actual credentials that you need to fill in, and the first one is a name that you can just make up. Let's call it My Influx Database. For adding the credentials for InfluxDB, you need to have some access to your Influx database, obviously. If you don't have access, you need to ask access to your IT, or they can add the credentials for you. Let's suppose you have access to the database. This one, for example, is hosted at AWS. The first thing we need is the URL. We can copy it from the URL bar. And it needs to include the port number, if there's one. Let's go back to Marple and enter the URL here. So it includes the port number and also HTTP. Second up is a token. If we go back to InfluxDB, we go to adding data parts and we click API tokens. We have 2 choices here. The first choice would be to use an existing token, but the better choice and the more secure one is to create a new token. So let's create a new API token. Here, also the first choice, a read-write API token, is the more secure option. So let's take it. Why is this more secure, this token? So we can call it Marple. This way we remember that this token is using Marple. Why is it more secure? Because here in this interface, we can really choose a token to be scoped. We can choose it to be only used for a specific number, a specific bucket or multiple buckets. In this case, for example, we could tell the token to only allow access to the racing buckets. This way we can really trim down what Marple can read and write in the InfluxDB. By default, Marple does not need write access, so the best thing is to just give it read access to the buckets you need and leave the write access as it is. Let's save it. The new token appears in the list and we can click it. It will show us again a summary of the permissions we just selected. We now can copy the token to the clipboard. That's done. So let's head back to Marple. We can paste the token inside the token field. The last thing we need is the organization. Let's head back to Influx. The organization, we can see it if we click the icon in InfluxDB of our organization and click About. Here, the name of the organization is displayed. We can copy it again and head back to Marple to paste it. We now have all the credentials we need to connect to InfluxDB, so let's test the connection. The button is green, all fine, so we can now save the connection. The connection appears here, and if we open it, we can see that there's one bucket inside, which is racing. This seems like the connection is all working fine, and we can proceed making our first selection.